Hi, Megan.
Hey, Devin.
Hello, Hockey Style listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Style with Devin and Megan. You're in for a treat today. We have an extremely exciting guest joining us in just a few minutes. But before we do that, if you're new here, let me tell you a little bit about us. We have three periods to each episode. The first, Megan and I give a little recap and what's happening around the league or in our world of hockey. In the second period, we invite in an industry guest to share their subject matter expertise and how they shape the style of the NHL or their team. And in the third period, we'll do a little recap and, of course, leave you with a hockey style tip. So we have to kick things off today because it's the Red Wings Centennial, and we just spent 4 days at FanFest, and it was culminated on Saturday night, really, with the night at the Fox, which was
Mhm.
incredible.
Yes, it
So,
was.
did you have
Yeah.
fun, Megan?
I had a blast. I think, it was fun to have the opportunity to be there all 4 days. And I know for me going there, my main goal Thursday morning in line, like get out of my way because I'm running, was to get to the team store area immediately so I could get my Kilo and Co sweatshirt. They
Yeah.
did such a good job teasing that out. The design was perfect, both the cream and the red. And I was just very determined that that would be my first order of business because I was not getting one of those.
By the way, I can vouch for this story because we were like sixth in line. So the chances of the extra small shirts in Megan's size selling out were already extremely low. But then we were sixth. And yet she goes in before me and I'm going through security. So they're looking in my little tiny purse. And by the time I turn around, she's gone. She's at the
Gone, out of
store.
here. I got things to do. This is important. I'll see you in a minute.
Yes, you were a woman on a mission and you prevailed. You secured the cute Kilo and Co. And
Absolutely.
by the time I finally made my way there, I too secured a Kilo and Co shirt. So a shout out to Amanda and team because that was definitely a hot item. We saw a
Hmm.
lot of the ladies purchasing the shirts this
Those
weekend.
went very fast. Yes, they were a very popular item. So, yeah, I,
You're
I think I
also
was justified in my concerns.
yes, you're also wearing a new Centennial shirt that was a
I
cool
am.
one. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
it has the flags down the
it does. All the
or the icon.
logos, all the are very, very
Oh, yeah.
diverse logos throughout time.
Yeah. Or lack thereof.
But
Yeah,
there
that
are
was
some, so they made it on the
yeah.
sleeve. Yeah, it's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, the retail in general, they did some cool things for us for Centennial. I found it's hanging up in here, so I'll have to share it on one of these episodes. A jersey by a brand that we weren't familiar with, where it had the red and cream that the Red Wings are using for Centennial, but they did the cream accents in a lace,
It
little
is actually
feminine
white.
touch. Oh, is it white?
It's white. Mhm.
It's my poor lighting in here.
Yep, it's white.
I'm like looking behind me. They did a beautiful job.
It's nice.
So
Yeah, I love it.
yeah. We also got to pretend we were broadcast legends behind the desk at FanDuel Sports Network.
Hmm.
Do you remember what play you got to call?
I got Iserman's goal.
Oh, in Calgary?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a very quick one.
I tried to do fight night at the Joe.
It
Let me
wasn't
tell you.
Calgary.
Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
I can't remember. We'll have to post
Mm-mm.
that on our social media because
Oh
that was
boy.
that was embarrassing but fun. Calling the Fight Night at the Joe was not easy. A lot of names in a short amount of time, all fighting and jumping
People
through the
flying
air.
through the air. Yeah.
Other than that, I had a really fun time
Yeah.
getting autographs, even though there was a lot of people and you have to be ready to wait in lines. We kind of know that being having done things like this in the past, right? And just meeting friends and connecting with new
Yeah.
friends in line and just talking hockey was honestly one of the best parts.
For sure.
And of course, we would be remiss not to say we met Sergei Fedorov and he signed our jerseys. So that's not too
Hmm.
shay.
Yeah.
Had a
That
good
was one of the
conversation.
goals. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
Absolutely.
got yours. What jersey did you and Brennan get signed?
I had my Nicholas Lidstrom Centennial jersey that I was very excited to get signed, and Brennan had his Dino Ciccarelli. And we got so lucky because they were in the same group on Thursday, so we just knocked it right out. So it was a low stress affair after that.
perfect.
Mhm.
And I did not yet receive my Osgood Centennial jersey, so hopefully, Ozzy, I'll catch you one day. But if not, I was equally as happy just to, have more signatures on this one. I was pumped about Steve Eiserman in the middle there,
Mhm.
so that was
Mhm.
a little bonus treat. But the player I had the most fun talking with was Darren McCarty, which
Of
is,
course.
yeah, we see him all the time, but yet chatting with him there and talking about the podcast with him and getting his like stamp of
Mhm.
approval was really really sweet. So
Mhm. Yeah, I am truly grateful for him always being around and always engaging with fans and talking with them. And I think that, there are fans that I've met that don't get to live here who are always excited to tell me that they've met Darren McCarty and what a
mhm.
highlight it was for them. And it makes me so happy that, we have him as an ambassador because he does such a great job with it.
Yes, in fact, I think I embarrassingly told him, "We don't even need a mascot in Detroit. We've got you, Darren."
I
I'm
think he
like,
gave us a little
"Wait,
wink on that one.
wait. Yeah, I mean that in a loving way. Not that you're a mad, but like, hopefully he knew what I meant."
Mhm.
And then A Night at the Fox was more than I hoped for.
It was
Oh,
great. Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
first of all, if you haven't been to the Fox Theater, it is exquisite. There are intricate carvings and marble inlays, and every single place you look has something beautiful. But 50 plus alumni. I mean, you can't beat it. The stories that were shared. What was one of your favorite moments?
I I will say that my favorite player to hear from, because I feel like he just hasn't been around that much, was actually Matthew Dandeneau. He was hilarious.
He was funny.
Just personality abound. I had no idea. I hope he comes around more because I loved it. But yeah, he definitely kind of have a thought on that ties into our guest coming up, but maybe I'll save that for the third period.
All right, sounds good. My favorite has to be the moment Konstantinov came onto the stage. His helper issued him on his nurse, and he sat right next to Sergei Fedorov, and they were part of a panel. So all of the discussion was happening, and they're still so connected and so close that the two of them were engaging, and Fedorov's taking pictures of Konstantinov, selfies of the two of them in the midst of this moment, and they were enjoying themselves as much as the audience was enjoying hearing from the panel and hearing from them.
Absolutely.
And it was so special. I think everybody in the audience had moments of laughter and surprises and tears. I know I was tearing up at that point. So it really was more than I expected.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
We'll have to do it again in 100 years, Megan.
Yep. We'll be there.
We won't talk about the two games that we watched because let's just say they did not go our way in Detroit. Um, Rangers, Chicago, you played well. So shout out to our New York and Chicago fans. Uh,
Congrats.
yeah, Bedard is having a week. He looked really good. Too bad it was against us. Anyway, we do love all of you. We love our original six teams. It was just a really special hockey weekend, and I'm just now recovering. I was
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
We didn't sleep much.
No.
Oh my goodness. With that said, our special guest today is also a lover of all 32 teams equally. Because without further ado, we are going to be speaking with and introducing you to Heidi Browning, who is the Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer of the NHL. We're going right to the top today, listeners. Let's hear from Heidi about what's going on across the league and her hopes for the future.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the second period and welcome Heidi Browning.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great, Devin. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, Megan?
Oh, couldn't be better.
It's been a day. It's been a day, but we're all together and we're talking hockey, and that always makes things better, right? How's New York City, Heidi?
New York is great. It's a little cold. We had our first snow yesterday, so that's always a good sign, especially good hockey weather is on its way
Yes.
to everyone.
Yes, we started the season here in Detroit with it was 80 degrees well into October, and it was
Yeah,
so confusing. So now it really feels like hockey weather.
so perfect.
So speaking of that, you have plenty of stories to share, but we always like to start with our sort of hockey origin stories because yours is pretty unique. So we'd love to hear how you found yourself loving the sport of hockey.
Well, first of all, I grew up in Montana, so we didn't have a professional hockey team in Montana. Of course, like the kids all played on the outdoor ponds and that kind of thing. So I never really had a personal experience with professional hockey until the Olympics. My first actual professional hockey game was the Olympics in Utah, and it was just extraordinary. But then again, I didn't follow through with becoming a hardcore hockey fan until I met the commissioner and I started to work here at the NHL. And he was so wonderful because we talked about all of the opportunities within the organization. And, one of the areas that I didn't have was a deep hockey knowledge. And he said, you know what? That's okay. We have a whole company filled with hockey experts. And sometimes you can't see what you can't see. And that was really the superpower that's propelled me in my role, which is to expand and grow our fan base to new hockey fans as well as fans in waiting who might not even know they're hockey fans yet, and help grow our sport.
I love that term, fans in waiting. I'm going to use that now. They're not non hockey fans, they're just fans
Right.
in waiting.
They're fans in waiting. And of course, now I'm one of those hardcore hockey fans like you two, where obsessed with all the stats and all the storylines and all the players and all the inside information. And it's so fun to become a part of that. Sometimes fans feel intimidated by that. So we're working really hard to make sure that we're making the sport accessible and that we're helping people understand the rules and the strategies and the players. So anybody at any time could jump in and become a fan and learn, and be a part of
Yeah.
our family.
Awesome. So, from your perspective and your opinion, what do you think makes hockey so special and how it's so easy for fans to become so passionate about it?
Well, I'd like to hear your stories too of what you think, but I think it always starts with the game on the ice. Everything starts with the game on the ice, and it is in the best state that it's ever been in the history of hockey. The skills and the speed and the athleticism of especially this new generation of talent, is extraordinary. And we have, our famous talent who's breaking records. We had Ovechkin beat Gretzky's record. So we've got some veterans that are doing amazing things and this new young talent. And every night is exciting on the ice. So I think it starts there. And then really, I think it's all about the love and the passion that the fans have through the knowledge, through the stories, through the history, through all of the different touch points that the hockey community has. I think that just deepens your fandom and your roots.
So I actually had the pleasure of working with you when our company was Pandora. Now we're part of SiriusXM Media, and you were strategic vice president or senior vice president of strategic solutions. Long title, but you did so much to put together the brand and market it in a fun way. And everybody loved you so much. So it was so bittersweet when you left to take on this opportunity, but what a cool opportunity it was. So I never got to hear, in your words, your opinion. Why did you think it was the right time to join the National Hockey League and make that switch, become
Uh,
chief
well,
marketing officer?
Well, first of all, I loved my time at Pandora and I loved working with all of you. That was like an amazing, amazing experience and opportunity. But to have the opportunity to join the league on the eve of their 100-year birthday or anniversary, I should say, their
Yeah,
100-year anniversary, with the mission to help grow and engage our fan base for the next 100 years. How do we stay culturally relevant? How do we attract next generation fans? How do we grow and diversify our sport? That to me was so exciting and such a unique opportunity. There aren't many brands who reach 100. And so to
right.
be there on that birthday and then now, 9 years later, have the privilege to continue working here and growing our sport is just phenomenal.
Yeah, not a lot make it to the Centennial. We get
Yeah.
to do it here in Detroit this year. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting. How are you finding the centennial celebrations in Detroit?
It's been great. We had a blast this last weekend. We had our fan fest and lots of fan engagement, fun things to do. Just, yeah, it was fantastic.
We
That's
had a
awesome.
night at the Fox, one of the
Oh,
most
mhm.
beautiful theaters here in
Yeah,
downtown Detroit. And nobody really knew what that meant, right? I
yeah.
mean, 50 plus alumni just sharing stories and behind the scenes and reconnecting on stage. Everybody was laughing, crying, joking. You could tell like this is why we're called Hockey Town. And
Yeah.
it was a goosebump moment. Absolutely.
You just gave me goosebumps thinking about it. And I love it when it's the legends and the icons and the fans all in the same room. And again, back to what makes hockey so special. It is a family. Don't you feel like it's kind of
Yeah.
like a family, a tight knit? Well, now you're literally family now, but
I know.
which is such a wonderful story too. And I do think that that is something special that we celebrate in our sport that I don't know
Yeah.
if it exists in all the other sports.
Yeah. And that's a fun story because we're family because of hockey. We
Yeah.
would never, Megan and I would never know each other. She wouldn't be marrying my brother. It was the NHL, Heidi. So,
I love it. We love all those NHL romances.
yeah,
We're
for
gonna have to
sure.
feature you.
Well, I'm super curious. What is like just kind of generally like a week in your life as CMO? Like what does that entail? What do you go through?
Well, I have in like the basic level, meetings all day and hockey all night, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But in my world, I look after several areas of the business. So I look after fan engagement, analytics, research, and social media. So our acronym is FEARS. And that is a huge job because it spans so many different areas, right? You have to know all about the data and the technology behind that. You have to understand what's the fan journey and how are they entering and what's the next best, offer or message or game to serve them up. And then you get the opportunity to hear from your fans. Like we always think of my role as the voice of the fan. And so we're always listening to hear what are their needs, what are their wants, what are their perceptions, barriers, etc. What do they like? What do they don't like? It's really important that we stay in touch and in tune with that. And then social media, which is 24/7, which is why I say it's hockey all night, whether it's live going to games or it's, watching the games at night. I do watch a lot of hockey, and we have a team in Toronto that sits up near our situation room, and they cover all the games every night. We have games. Often nights we'll have 17 games a night, and in one last month we had all 32 teams playing at once in one day, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work for the team to keep, up with it because you have to clip with, care and with speed. You want to tell the right story. You want to get your messages out early. You want to have it in the right format across all the platforms. So there's a lot that happens in that nighttime crew, in addition to just, getting the opportunity to enjoy all this amazing hockey.
Well, if you're ever up watching West Coast games, feel free to text us. We were exhausted as if we had gone on the West Coast road trip with the Detroit Red Wings, and we're so ready for them to come back because the Anaheim game, the LA game, we're up watching all of them until 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, I love it. The diehards. Yeah, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
still split my time between East Coast and West Coast. And so
Okay.
West Coast sports are a lot more civilized when it comes to getting to bed at a reasonable hour. But I do stay up to watch the games when I'm here on the East Coast. And in fact, sometimes my husband's on the other coast and I'm here, and we'll pick a game to watch together. And we're
Oh,
on our opposite couches, and we'll just, be on the phone or FaceTime or whatever, but I can't say anything out loud, like if there's a goal or anything, because, of course, there's like a little bit of a
a
delay across
delay.
the coast. So I, find all kinds of ways to not express myself verbally when the goals are scored, etc. So it's
Oh,
pretty
boy.
fun, but it keeps us connected, especially when we're apart.
Oh, that's so cute. That would be really, really hard. I think my neighbors were wondering what was going on with my husband and I. The game Wings played, I think it was Anaheim, and we thought no, it was LA. We thought we lost the game, and then Toronto reviewed it, and we didn't, and then we ended up winning in overtime. We were screaming at 1:30 in the morning. So
Yeah. I love it. I
Can't control
love it.
myself. So you mentioned, Heidi, social media,
Yeah.
and obviously that's a huge one. We call our podcast Hockey Style because it's literal and metaphorical. Of course, we love all the awesome jerseys and cute clothes that are available now, but really it's more metaphorical for us about those individuals who shape the style of the league, the game, the franchise in really interesting ways. Social media has made, of course, a major impact on the style of the 32 teams. Coming from an original six team, of course, the Detroit Red Wings have a little bit more of a conservative approach, right? But Megan and I have had a blast and many giggles following all of the expansion teams over the past few years, really kind of pushing the envelope and showing their colors in humorous ways. How are you and your team utilizing social media to shape the NHL at large and using that as a tool?
Yeah, well, that's such a great question because social media is like operating system of life for so many generations of people, right? It's your communication, it's your
Mhm.
connection, it's your entertainment, it's your commerce, it's everything. And so it does become and is a critical role in our fan engagement and fan connection. And we're, our mission is really to educate and entertain our fans and maybe surprise them with some new fun facts, which our fans love so much. But when I first joined the league and started looking at our social media, we were very much conservative as well, right? I called it polishing the shield. We were so busy polishing the shield that it was more like information. It wasn't entertainment. And when you think about what young fans want to know about players, it's not just about how awesome they are on the ice. It's the whole
Mhm.
human, who they are off the ice. And we started to, and they want to know the personalities. They want to know what they eat and what they, who their significant other is. Do they have dogs? What's their workout? What's their style? What's their game day routine? All of those things everyone expects to know about an athlete. And this is a global trend. It's not just in hockey, it's across all sports. People are following athletes first, then teams, and then leagues. So as we looked at that and brought that insight into the organization, we thought about like what are the different ways that we can express that personality. First, we had to, change our tone, which is a slow moving thing. You can't just suddenly change your tone on social media. Secondly, we had to experiment with different kinds of content on different kinds of platforms to really understand what was resonating with people. And, and then looking to see where we're gaining new followers. Are they younger followers? Are they old? What's the demographics of the people that are engaging with this? And what we noticed was all of all of the content that was about our athletes, was the stuff that was getting the most clicked on. It was, passing a
Yeah.
puck over the glass to a young girl. It was, moms crying over the first goal. It was all these human moments. And so we adopted this mantra called humans are greater than highlights. Of course, highlights are
Oh.
what the game is all about, but the humans are what's driving it. And so that became our mantra and our rallying cry with our athletes, with our clubs, with our GMs, that, this is the new era and people want to know everything about it. And when your team's winning, they want to know, but when your team's losing, they want to know and care about you just as much.
Mhm.
And so having that personal one-to-one connection and having that little bit of extra knowledge about our athletes is really
Mhm.
important. And, just like I was saying earlier, the athletes could be walking amongst us and you might not recognize
Mhm.
them. It's because they've got visors and helmets on and all
Yeah.
this equipment, and they're on skates. They're way taller. So we call it like peeling back the visor and really showing the face. And so you may have seen this in our social media channels, as well as on our spots that we're creating. We're really trying to showcase the face, the name recognition, and the sort of human aspects and personalities of our players in addition to their extraordinary skills on ice.
Mm. You're speaking our language for sure. Megan and I share stories all day, every day. I'm not sure we
How
should
do
admit that.
So what do you think? Because one of the exciting kind of changes for this season was the sort of the relaxation of the dress code. So you don't have to wear a suit. You can if you want to. And hockey's always been suit culture. However, some of the guys are just showing up and showing off their own style and their own personal, tastes and interests. What do you think of that? Are you looking at the hockey when the tunnel walks is the new runway?
Oh, absolutely. I think this season I started joining like one of the Instagram features of the chats that the teams have created because a lot of the times they share those photos in there. And it's so fun to just get a little ding. Oh, you can look at, everybody's, walking through the tunnel today for the Predators or the Maple Leafs, and you can just see everybody's outfit. And it's so much fun to see their personalities really shine. And I think, I've seen quite a few of them kind of go back and forth with it. Sometimes they'll be really casual, and then another game, they're really dressed up. So it's just fun to see the variety and like their personalities really coming through in their outfits because I think that's a very personal thing.
Yeah. I really love, and this is why it's also interesting. People have different perspectives, but I love the traditional suit. And okay, you don't need the tie, you don't need the leather shoes necessarily. Wear some sneaks, lose the tie, whatever. But I think one thing that was always so special and unique about hockey players as athletes is that when they showed up to work, they were there. They were like, this is business. We are leaned in and we mean it. And there's nothing like getting off the bus in your nice tailored suit because you're going to work and you're getting the job done. And it's interesting because without mentioning that to any of the Red Wings guys this weekend, they said, yeah, we're all still wearing the suits. Like, what do you guys think? I'm like, looking good. But like, that's part of their personality. So I love that there's options out there now.
Yeah, the options is
Mhm.
that's the thing
Yeah.
that's really important. And I do love the guys' suits too, and especially how they customize the inside lining of their suits. And when we had our hockey fights cancer nights across the league, there were many players who had custom suits made to honor the people in their lives that may have suffered from
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that social media vein, there's been so much development with that. And does your youth advisory board get to discuss those changes with you and give input? And where did the idea for the youth advisory board come from?
So this is my favorite topic of all time. So thank you for asking. So when I first joined the league, I think I did an interview with Wall Street Journal or something, and talked about really trying to grow our game among the next generation of fans. And I got a letter in the mail from an 11-year-old girl who said, I'm a huge hockey fan. I live down the street. I could work for free this summer. I'm off from school. And of course, we giggled because, we can't hire a kid. But we invited her in, and I organized this group of, people across the organization thinking she'd want to meet different roles to see like maybe someday she'd want to work at the league. So we got some marketing and some of our community and, social media and fan engagement, a bunch of different people in the organization. Well, she comes in with a full on PowerPoint filled with ideas and presents to us in the boardroom, and with, style and grace. And it was so impressive. And it was also an aha moment. So she had a
Mm.
lot of great ideas. In fact, they were so great. Some of them we were already doing, but she didn't know it. And here's this
Oh.
11-year-old hockey fan who knows every rule in the book by the number, but she doesn't know some of the things we're doing, which told us that wow, maybe we're not in the right spaces or places, or we're
Mhm.
not connecting and communicating in the right way. So that birthed the idea of this youth advisory board, which we call the NHL Power Players. Every year we draft a new class, and they're 13 to 17-year-olds. They apply. We have around 1,000 applicants every year. We whittle it down, final interviews, and then we meet with them twice a month. And the goal of our sessions with them is just to learn and to listen to them, right? Learn from them and listen. We talk about everything. Obviously, hockey is a big topic, but we talk about everything: sports, content, music, fashion, food, all that intersectionality that happens with sports and culture that's really important. It's so amazing to learn about it and hear about it through the kids' eyes. And they've been, critical and helping us really evolve our social media strategy, evolve our, our thumbnails, thinking about our our creators that we work with. They're always have their finger on the pulse. And what shocks me every time is how much content they consume, remember, and then have an opinion on and can and
Mhm.
share back with you. And so it gives me such great joy. We just had our session last night. And again, I have so many inspiration moments from that group. So we do spend a lot of time talking about how the game has changed through their eyes, what's really important, how they want to grow the game. And, back to what makes hockey fans so special, hockey fans really do have an incredible encyclopedic knowledge of the players, of the rules, of the stats, of the standings, of the history, of the traditions, all the things, and we talk about that stuff, but how do we make it accessible? Because they want to
Mm,
talk about it with their friends, but their friends don't necessarily know all those kinds of, aspects of
mhm,
the sport. And so how, they want to extend and express to them. And so any of these little entry points to hockey are really interesting. So for one example, there was a skate blade that was getting changed, and somebody put it on TikTok, and they said, "Does the horse hurt when you change the shoe?" And it got like millions and millions of views and likes on it. And that's a really cool entry point. And then all of a sudden, you hear people saying, "Oh, I want to check out hockey. That looks pretty cool." Like the most
mhm,
random things inspire people to, explore hockey. Hockey romances are a big thing on Book Talk.
mhm.
That's been inspiring a whole culture of people that are just checking us out for the first time. And that's why it's so important that we not only have, the skills and the athleticism on the ice, but that other side, the human side of our players that are out there, because that's where people can connect if they don't know anything about our sport.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned humans over highlights, and I think what I'm taking away is the highlights are just as exciting to hockey fans, but even more so when you can identify with the humans or know their backstory. And it's pretty cool how you're combining all this with the next generation of hockey fans.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the next group of hockey fans, you've got the young kids covered, and I can see why that's such a passion point for you.
Yeah.
But I've been shocked. I know, Megan, you've talked about it with me too, by the number of adult fans who are just now finding hockey. And we've noticed it more than ever in the last like 12 months, and we're lifelong hockey fans. So I couldn't pinpoint exactly why. I'm sure you have a lot of data and analytics, but one thing we noticed was it was after the Four Nations face off, it became apparent on our social feeds, which are almost all hockey accounts at this point, that there was all these influencers popping up or just individuals talking about how cool Four Nations face off was. So first, like shout out to your team and everybody involved in that effort, because it was literally a game changer.
Yes.
But now we've got all this content with individuals trying to like pick a favorite team for the first time, and we're
Love
like
it.
giddy over it. So, props to you, and just wanted to talk more about like that effort and what you would say to brand new hockey fans to keep them in the sport and engaged, even though sometimes it might be a little bit intimidating with all of the rules and regulations.
Well, thank you for highlighting that moment, because it was absolutely a lightning in a bottle moment for us here at the league that continues. It's a gift that continues to keep on giving. People are still talking about it. And as you said, it's inspired a whole new group of hockey fans. For us, it was the first time our players had been wearing the flags of their home countries. And that was really exciting. There was something special about that, right? They were playing for something bigger than just their team. They were playing for their country. And so I think that the level of hockey that was played in those games was absolutely extraordinary, and a precursor for the Olympics, which are
Yeah.
less than 100 days away. And we're really excited for our NHL players to return to and play in the Olympics. And one of the things that we noticed from that lightning in a bottle moment is not only were people starting to consume more hockey on our socials, the social conversation, that one USA and Canada game
Yeah.
dominated the social conversation. 21% of all conversation that was happening that day was about hockey. And it shows you the
Ah,
importance of having these moments to open people's eyes. Maybe we, invigorated a fan that hadn't been watching lately, or, didn't think about, we weren't top of mind, or we inspired new fans to come check us out. But having that social global conversation was key to reintroducing people. And then that's where you start to, again, rely on all the different channels that you have, whether it's, our social media or our YouTube or our docu-series, like the Inside the NHL, Face Off Inside the NHL, which were really bringing fans and new fans behind the scenes. And we know from our research that we did from both four nations, but especially from the Face Off Inside the NHL docu-series, that really getting to know the personal stories behind the players and actually seeing behind the scenes and seeing how hard these guys grind and work to win, but then also what delightful people they are in their,
Mhm.
in their world, or the rivalries they have on the ice, yet they're
Mhm.
besties when they're off the ice. Like there's some really cool and exciting moments. Again, it just expands our ability to be relatable to fans who may or
Mhm.
may not know our sport. And then we have created lots of ways and places and TikTok and YouTube for hockey fans to get quick tips on how to, learn the game. But
Yeah.
we count on our fans to also bring new fans in and help them enjoy and love
Yeah.
the sport.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing up the docu-series Face Off Inside the NHL, because for longtime fans, that was such a treat. And just when Megan and I thought we had our very finite list of super, athletes that we love better than, now we had to rip it up because now we love them all. They all have these great backstories. And, that was another moment where we thought, thank goodness there's people like Heidi, involved in leading the efforts here, because we were hungry for that type of storytelling and content, but it really didn't exist before. So now we can eat, sleep, and breathe hockey all the time.
And that's so great. I mean, you're speaking to the global trend, right? People are
Yeah.
following athletes first. Now you and some are following athletes of sports they don't even watch just because the athletes are
Yeah.
interesting people. And
Yeah.
so that's what we're trying to do, is really, give you a reason to root for somebody. You don't have to know the team. You don't have to live in the, demo, or I mean, sorry, in the DMA where people
Mhm.
live. You don't have to live in Detroit to love
Yeah.
to love the players, but you can love the players because you saw something that was really interesting and compelling and relatable to you.
Yeah. The number of non-Red Wings jerseys we both have hanging behind us is indicative of that sentiment.
What inspires you to buy jerseys? Is it a player, or is it like a cool design or a heritage or a, unique jersey? What is it?
For me, it is in fact a player. It's
Yeah.
the specific guy, and it was kind of one of those moments where he was my favorite player in Detroit. He was moving on, but I had someone wise tell me, "Think of all the things you can get now from that other team."
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "That's right. I can only have so many Wings jerseys, but now I get to expand my collection into other interesting things." And I kind of fell in love with that, and now I'm a lot of the times looking for something different. It doesn't have to be Red Wings. I'm interested in other teams now.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Megan got me into collecting game used, game worn jerseys, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but equipment.
Yes.
And that is always pretty player centric. The group of collectors that we know, and it's interesting, they all kind of know each other across the US and Canada. It's just like a small hobby. And
Yeah.
once they know which player you really are inspired by. People will call me or send social posts like, "Hey, did you know Alex Lyon, the goalie, has something up from his days in Chicago Wolves?" Like, it's pretty cool. But the jerseys I have that are not gamers, it's kind of the opposite. It's either a nostalgic, like the Quebec Nordiques or the Whalers, like things I
Yeah.
loved when I was growing up with the sport, or very design centric. Like anytime one of the original six has a centennial, we think like, "Ooh, we need the we need the fancy jersey." So
Yeah, and we've got some good ones that are out now,
yeah.
with the centennial jerseys, and we did the reverse retro, which was kind of a
Yeah.
mix. So yeah, so yeah, it always I buy a lot of jerseys myself too, because they're just, I think they're the most beautiful jerseys in all of
Mhm.
sport. Like the design and the detail that goes into them, they're just like unmatched anywhere. And I think it's cool that you're also following players once they, move to new teams, because that's one of those things where, like, again, the tribalism of following just the team that's in your market. But we saw it also with Marshawn when he went from Boston to Florida. We saw Boston tuning into Florida
Yeah,
when we looked at the market data, and we think it's because of Marshawn. And then the return
for
when he
sure.
came back, there was huge viewership numbers because everyone wanted to see him come home, and that was such an emotional,
Yeah.
wonderful moment when he came home to Boston this year.
Yeah, we're probably skewing your data a little bit in our two households because we'll just put whichever game is on and
Yeah.
watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got to get on a text chain around the games because I'm watching them
Yeah,
all
yeah.
too. So
Oh my gosh, I love it. There's so many good storylines though. So,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
speaking of connecting with individuals throughout the hobby, and Megan and I belong to an organization that's social media based, Ladies of the NHL. Shout out to Stacy Nutini, our
Nice.
founder. And
Yeah.
that's been so cool just to connect with like-minded women who are hockey super fans for a variety of reasons. So knowing that you have always been such a proponent of, you know, helping women get to where you are and find their, you know, place in their passion in their field. It was cute because you mentioned the 11-year-old girl, and I'm thinking to myself, of course you invited her in, and like that's such a Heidi thing to do. So I was wondering if you could share anything about how you're helping to pave the way or connect with women specifically in hockey.
Awesome. Well, so I love that you've got this female fan social group. This is so awesome. I don't think people realize that 40% of our viewership are female, and our fan base is female, which is higher than most sports. And we've continued to grow that intentionally. We've grown 10% year over year, and expanding to multicultural female fans has grown 21%. So we're
Mm,
really trying to grow and connect with female fans because we just think our sport is so amazing, and it's such an interesting opportunity because of the community that surrounds it, that we think
yeah.
women would want to be a part of it. But I'm really proud to be in the company because we have so many women in executive positions across the league. When you look at the league and the teams, there are over 100 women who hold C-suite positions. Like, stop and
Awesome.
meditate on that for a minute. That's a
Yeah.
lot. There are 32 clubs. We have 100 women who hold C-suite positions. We have over 150 women who are in like hockey operations jobs, like scouting, player development, analyst positions, player health, et cetera, which is a lot. And then they're in partnership with the NHLPA, which is our players association. We have a fund that's investing in growing female coaches, and we have 100 women who are in our female coaches program, which is
Awesome.
also amazing. And then, of course, our big moment is Jessica Campbell, our first
Woo.
assistant female coach, and our first female assistant coach, she broke the internet on that
Yeah.
first day when she was on the ice in her white suit, and all the guys were gathered around the iPad to get the strategy in the plays. And that was incredible. And she's continued to do amazing things there. So I think that, there's a testament to the entire organization, whether it's, growth in youth sports, female,
Mm.
that's where our fastest growth is in young girls, to our viewership, to all the women who are making this league great across the board.
Oh, awesome. I'm ready for Megan. I'm ready for our event on Friday now. We're going to a women's sports networking event just for women who love sports in Detroit. And it's like I'm seeing more and more of that. And I can't wait to share some of those numbers with them. They're gonna be like, heck yeah, let's go watch some hockey.
I love it. We should make sure that you're connected with Asia, who's the CMO at the Detroit Red Wings. She is awesome.
Oh
If
yeah.
you don't already know her, but she should be there with you. She's worked in a number of different leagues, so she's got extraordinary sports experience. So she'd be a game changer for you.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, we touched on it a little bit, but we've got original six teams hitting their centennial milestones, which is so exciting. Exciting. Of course, we're doing it here this year, so that's amazing. But thinking about that, like, what are your hopes for the next 100 years for the NHL?
Well, I hope we continue to just dazzle people on the ice with the skills. I mean, literally, they are getting so fast and so skilled. I don't know if you watched the TNT broadcast last night, but Wayne Gretzky was talking about it too. He's like, you cannot imagine the things the kids are doing now was unimaginable in his era, and
Yeah.
so that's only going to continue to grow because they start practicing at the youngest ages, and and continue to the equipment continues to get better and they continue to refine their skills. So I'm sure that the game itself is going to continue to drive that. I think that this next generation of players, which we call the next golden era, is now as they grow
Mhm.
up. They're 18, 19, 20 years old, and of the top 5 point scorers, 4 of them are under 20. Right?
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
amazing. So continuing to watch them evolve and grow and grow the game along with them. And I think being global is going to be another really important thing that you'll see in the next 100 years. Obviously, we're a very global sport. Over 30% of our players are from other countries other than North America, but we have a mission to expand ourselves across borders. And so that's going to be really exciting. And then the last is really that idea of hockey being infused to culture and culture being infused to hockey. And what's so important to this world is people want to have an escape from reality and be a part of hockey, but everything is mashing together. Everything's a mashup now, right? Music's
Mhm.
influencing, sports are influencing music, fashion, food, all those things. So it'll be exciting to see where this evolves in the future.
Oh, perfect segue, Heidi. On that note, as we're all excited for what comes next in the world of hockey and hopefully playoffs for the Red Wings, uh, just gonna throw that out there. Um,
Yeah.
so we want to ask you how some of those influences in your life, music, fashion, etc., inspire some selections you might make in a little bit of a rapid fire round of questions. So no need to overthink it. We just want to know a little bit about your preferences. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. If you played in the NHL, what position would you play and why?
Well, I think I'd be the goaltender. I think it's the toughest job, but you know me. I like to be challenged. I like hard things. But it requires concentration and endurance and adaptability, flexibility. But
Mhm.
I would do anything to support the team, and I feel like that's the goaltender's role.
Great answer. Couldn't agree more. Megan, what's yours? I never
You
asked
know,
you this.
I I think I would probably either be defense or the goaltender. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to think about it. It'd be interesting to see what I choose. I can get pretty feisty, so I think I might be able to handle defense.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. You can be my D man. Goalie's
Yeah.
last line of defense. I need you.
There we
Perfect.
go. There we go. Well, I'm dying to know this one. What is your go-to game day style?
Well, I usually wear black. We love all of our children, so I
Yep.
never wear a team color, especially because you don't want to have any broken hearts or hurt feelings. And
Right.
so I always wear black for when I'm in public watching games or at home.
Perfect.
And it's Trey Chic.
Yes.
I found my one and only black sweater for you today. Everything is red. What can I say? I tried. Okay. What if you and the commissioner, Gary Bettman, had a meeting and decided we need a 33rd team now and it's hot. It's got to happen this season. So it's going to be named the Heidi Brownings. What color jersey do you pick for your new team?
You know, I think I would do something in the colors of a sunset, like maybe an ombre jersey with like yellow, oranges, and pinks, because I love sunsets. And if you follow me on Insta, like I take a lot of sunset pictures. So I think it would be sunset colors.
Oh, beautiful. Yes,
Love
that
that.
is you. Day at the beach.
Yeah.
Love it.
So what would you choose as your team mascot?
Ooh, well, I could invent my own mascot. I would definitely have some form of a dog. In fact, a real dog. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but many, if not most of our teams have team dogs and
Mm-hmm.
puppies on ice. That is the
Yes.
best thing. And we're getting dogs adopted all across North America. And, puppies are just good for everyone. So it would be some dog related mascot.
I love that.
Yes, at our red carpet walk in Detroit this season, kicking off the first home game, a lot of the sign carriers before each player were holding a rescue puppy up for adoption, or rescue dog, I should say. I call all dogs puppies, doesn't matter if they're 15. And it was such great visibility. I thought I don't know where this like unwritten partnership started between hockey and dog lovers, but we're here for it.
It really came about organically, and some of the clubs have formed relationships with rescue organizations. Others had the dogs because they're just the players, when the players are hanging out with the puppies, sometimes that's relaxing, before a
Yeah.
game or at practice or whatnot. And so it just became a thing that caught fire, and everyone's getting on board. And again, we're really proud. We do something called the Stanley Pup every year during the Stanley Cup playoffs and final, and that's a really fun, yeah, I don't know if you've watched that. Have you watched
Oh
that?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Oh
really
yeah.
Yeah.
cute, yeah, and it's a good fan engagement thing. People send in their photos of dogs watching Stanley Pup on TV, and so it's a great program.
It was actually, I have to admit, it was my first year watching it because my oldest dog crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. It's okay. He had a great life and was a huge Wings fan. But when we would put the Stanley Pup on every year, we would always try. He would jump at the TV and get so excited, and he like knew that was his moment. So, I mean, we had to save the television and the furniture and not watch it. But this year we have two younger puppies, and they like watched like, with the heads back and forth. It was very cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Last question is a fun one, but it can be challenging. So give it some thought.
Mm.
What would your team's victory song be?
Well, I'd probably make my own goal song, so but if I had to pick one that everybody knows, I think it would be "Don't Stop Believin'," my journey.
You're preaching to the Detroit girls. We love it.
And San Francisco, they're a San Francisco band, so
Yay.
there you go. So
That's perfect. True. I didn't even think about them being San Francisco. Yeah, I love it. A lot of the social media managers, ask the players a similar question, like, if you could pick the song, what would it be? Or what's your personal song? And even some of our players from abroad have said that song. Like,
oh,
that's just
wow.
so, yeah. So pretty cool. Lucas Raymond. Love it.
Oh,
So
great.
that was it. That was the hardest one. We're all,
Oh, well,
yeah.
this has been fun. This has been fun to get to know you and get to know your community. And I hope like you'll invite me to come to one of your women's happy hours,
We would
women in
love
sports
that.
happy hours one of these days.
Yes, there's a big
Absolutely.
retreat out in Vegas this year, but we may be getting together to also celebrate hockey and Megan's upcoming wedding here in Detroit. So we'll keep you posted. There's
Right
always hockey
on.
involved.
Congratulations, Megan.
Thank you. Yeah.
Are you gonna have a hockey themed wedding?
You know, we thought about it, but it actually took a little bit of a different turn. It is still sports related. It's Kentucky Derby themed.
Oh, wow. Cool. So you're gonna get some new hats and
You
fun
betcha.
stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it'll be
sure.
fun. Well, we will keep you posted, Heidi, but we can't thank you enough understanding how busy you are to be a chief marketing officer for the National Hockey League. Getting an hour of time with you is more than we could have ever dreamed of. This is really like the reason we started the podcast, was to highlight the people behind the scenes who are shaping the sport we love, and you do it so well. And to take this time just means the world. So thanks. Keep doing the good stuff.
Oh, thank you. It means so much to me to be able to connect with you as super fans of hockey. Let's keep it going and bring more people into our world.
We sure will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Welcome to the third period.
We're here. I don't want
We
the
did
second period to end.
That's a good one.
I know. Oh my goodness. Definitely one of my favorite episodes thus far. Although, just like Heidi loves all 32 teams, I love all of our guests. They all have shared so much, interesting insight and experience. But gosh, a day in the life of Heidi sounds pretty incredible. Busy,
Absolutely.
busy,
Yeah.
but incredible.
For sure.
At least for us, who would gladly work all day and then watch hockey all night if work was
Absolutely.
hockey.
Yeah. Put me down for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What were some of the things that you noticed or learned?
Well, we mentioned FanFest and the interesting things that we learned and players that we didn't know about. And I just thought it was such an interesting moment thinking about how far the NHL has come with social media and thinking about someone like Matthew Dandino and how I had no idea about his amazing personality. And I just think if he was a player today, there'd be no hiding that. I
Yeah.
think that it's just incredible. Like, I think about how we get to see all of these personalities all the time. And I'm so grateful that we've come so far because we kind of missed out on some of those things before. And yeah, so really, really amazing thought with how far we've come.
That's a good point too, because Heidi was mentioning, a lot of times you could pass a professional NHL player on the street, not even realize a lot of fans don't recognize them without their helmet and their skates and their gloves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now with social media and docuseries, etc., this generation of fans really has the opportunity to get to know those players and probably recognize them a lot more frequently than we did growing up
Mm-hmm.
watching hockey players.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. So I love everything Heidi is doing to bring in the next generation of hockey fans and continue to grow our favorite sport. But
Mm-hmm.
the NHL Power Players Advisory Board is brilliant.
So
How fun is
fun.
that?
Like, what a dream. Like, if we had
Mhm.
had the opportunity to do that, like, what a fantastic idea. Like, I just love that they're bringing in kids to get their perspective and keep things fresh and exciting and grow the sport. Like, I mean, that you couldn't ask for any more.
Absolutely. If only we could have been that 11-year-old
Right.
girl when we back then.
Right.
I don't think I had my act together at 11
Nope.
to be able to go in and talk to the CMO of the NHL. That's pretty cool.
Very impressive.
All right. Well, I think this episode was jam-packed with lots of content. So I think we should wrap up with a hockey style tip. What do you
Let's do
think?
it. Yeah.
All right. I have been talking to friends because we spent a lot of time standing in line, right? Waiting
Mm-hmm.
for autographs at FanFest about how everyone gives a lot of thought to what they should bring to a signing when you know you're going to see not just one player, but probably a lot of players, and you're limited to one item or just a couple items. So you don't want to roll in with like a big hockey bag with a jersey or a piece of equipment for every single player or like a tray of 40 pucks. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So we have had some creative ideas. You kick it off because you got probably the most interesting item of the
Well, it's
weekend.
interesting. I feel like you're gonna see them everywhere now, but for sure when I hand it to the players, there were so many that were like, "What is this?" But it is a giant mega puck with
I
a
mean, it's a
little
full
Red
puck.
Wings graphic. It's Centennial themed. I think there's different options out there, but this was the one that we had access to. But for guys that I didn't have something specific, it was such a great opportunity for them to just sign their little name on there, and that became my Centennial souvenir.
I love
And
it.
then yeah, the other
The
thing I
guys,
did.
wait,
Mhm.
before you go on, we got
Oh
to
yeah.
talk more about this puck
Oh
because
God.
the first thing is those who haven't met Megan, you're a very petite person, and they kept asking like, "What is
Oh yeah.
this? Like what?" And I was dying. I wanted her so badly to say, I'm really working on like my upper body strength, so my coach suggested I play with this puck that's a little heavier, and just like see how many would believe that this was a game puck. Alas, you were honest.
Well, I guess I would probably be really remiss if I didn't share what the Swedes had to say. So it was Michael Samuelsson and I think was it Cronwall?
Oh,
No,
probably.
it was Holmstrom.
Oh,
Those two. Those two. Um, we were just chatting about it and joking about like, what is it? Like, what are you gonna do with it? Like wear it around your neck and we could have the strongest neck in the arena. And they're like, no, you should. Then you could be just like Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav, you need a big gold chain.
How funny.
Oh my gosh. I love how serious though the alumni take where they sign. Who did you finally get to at the very end? He signed the cup.
It was Holmstrom. Because
Oh
I
yeah,
said to him,
he
I was like,
earned it.
well, I think we're at the end. I think you're going to be the last one. And he kind of smiled and he signed right on the Stanley Cup. And I was like, ooh, bold move. And he's like,
Mhm.
well, I won 4 of them. You deserve that spot. Mm-hmm.
I love him so much. I
He's
always
so
knew he
funny.
had a good personality, but he's
Mm-hmm.
hilarious.
No,
So
he's really funny.
that was another one along with Dan Deneau that I was like, man, Back in the day,
Mhm.
these two would have stolen the show on social media.
For sure.
All right, tell us what else you thought of for an
So
easy to bring item.
yeah, and for me, this kind of falls into modern players because I don't have as many older players, but just throw together a little book and just individual cards for everybody to sign. And actually, that was what I got a one Russian guy to sign. Can't think of his name right now.
Oh, that's a beautiful Sergei Fedorov.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Oh,
And then just,
you're silly. I
whoever.
I can't think of his name right now. You're
What's his
funny.
name? Yeah.
Mr. Fedorov. Oh,
Yeah, but
those
it's a
turned out
really
great.
great and even if it like just the base card, now it's a special card to
Yeah.
me. Like
Yes.
I love that. And
Yeah, and that's a good point because a lot of people don't want to, I don't think anybody wants to go out and spend a fortune on an item to have signed, right? So, base cards, you can stop by your local card store if you don't have any on you, and they are like you can get them for like under $1.
Mhm.
So really easy to do, and then there's something really special that you can frame or put in a little book. And the nice thing about that is even though you had something for everybody because it was just one thing, one little binder. It
Mhm.
counted as one
Yep.
item. Easy to transport. Yeah. Good
Mhm.
good work.
Yep. And I try to be very respectable. Like when I'm waiting in line, I put my cards in order. They're out of the sleeves. Just hand it right to them and move really quick so that you're not taking up
Yeah.
everybody's time.
Yes. You're a pro.
I try.
Be
I
ready.
try.
Have everything in order. I,
I
on the
try.
other hand, get in trouble every time because I care much less about leaving with the autograph and much more about the experience of like sharing a story or a moment or
Of
an
course.
anecdote with the player, which you do too. But I,
Yes.
not this will shock no one who's listened to our podcast, but I get a little too chatty.
Mm,
Keep it moving, Evan. So my item, what you can already see, we've talked about it, but it was the Hockey Town jersey. Obviously, nothing new. People have been making jerseys to have everybody sign for forever. But what I really wanted to do was give a lot of space for guys to sign on white. So I did go with a full 100. Not thinking I'd really wear it just to, let people have more room. But then I even ran out of room on that. So I did all of the current team members during training camp on the white numbers and then all of the legends and alumni around it in red. And of course, Steve Eisman right in the middle. My husband's idea was this is so Topher too because I met him studying at the library, right? Like he was always a book guy, but he got a book, The 50 Greatest Red Wings, and in the front cover he had his most favorites sign really beautifully. He got a huge Sergei Fedorov in there, Holmstrom. Yeah, it looks really nice. So that's just something easy to carry and have a great time getting autographs and not worry about, digging through a bunch of things. So
mhm.
leave us a comment if you've made it this far and tell us some of your favorite items you've had autographed or something that you're hoping to have autographed in the future. And we'd also love to hear what you thought about the conversation with Heidi. I hope you're as excited as we are to know that there are really forward thinking, incredibly savvy, and excited people in leadership at the NHL who are going to protect the sport that we love best. Thanks for listening today. Please don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and give us a like. And if you'd like, follow us on Instagram at Hockey Style Podcast so you can keep up with all of our daily hockey adventures. Talk to you soon.
See you later.